The Lord is our shepherd. At the end, at his coming, he will hand over his kingdom to his Father. He will judge between one sheep and another, between rams and goats, between those who have lived lives for others and those who have lived for themselves. The history of this feast is it was instituted by Pope Pius XI in 1925, about 99 years ago. The world had just completed one world war, and the countries and their secular kings and rulers were negotiating for political and economic benefits. The average person on the street may not see any benefits to these political structures. This Sunday is also the end of the liturgical year. The new liturgical year starts next week with the first Sunday of Lent. Today we hear scripture readings about Jesus' second coming and the end times. The gospel reading for today gives us important insight into the nature of Christ's kingship and its relevance to our daily lives. This teaching is the last in a series of parables and teachings on the return of the risen Christ at the end of time. Only Matthew's gospel teaches the judgment day process. Jesus teaches that there will be two groups, one that takes actions and the other that doesn't. One that sees the person in distress and takes action to remedy, one that sees the person in distress but takes no action. Brothers and sisters, a few weeks ago, we heard the Pharisee ask Jesus, "What is the greatest commandment?" The answer is the greatest commandment is actually two commandments. Love God with your whole mind and heart and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. Love means to take action to benefit our neighbor without counting the cost. Love is an action word, not just a word meaning our feelings. We need to evaluate all of our relationships and take steps to love others. This criteria means helping others' needs at a cost of doing less in another area. Some examples you will recognize. Martin Luther King. He believed that these readings are not very regal. They are about what Martin Luther King called to identify with the least, the lost, and the last. To fully identify with the stranger, the hungry, and the incarcerated. To search them out and identify with them. Father Greg Boyle saw a need to reach out to the people who were at the losing end of the LA gang cycle. These folks need second chances, help in turning over a new identity. For over 25 years, he has operated Homeboy Industries, probably the largest rehab and reentry program which requires volunteers and of use in their model in other localities. And finally, we remember Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa had folks try out ministering to the needy before considering the application of the person into her order. Before, you needed to show the love you have for the people on the street in need. We look at these examples of others to identify ways we might reach out to help those in need. Our catechism teaches Jesus identifies himself with all men, especially the poor and the afflicted. Thus, by serving others, we serve Christ. By performing works of mercy, we hope to find mercy. Indeed, Jesus' own ministry was marked by concern for the disadvantaged. We must ask God to help us support the needy without counting the cost. Right now, start the process. Ask God to provide the grace and give us the means to help the neighbors in need.